Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place where you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by me, your host, Tai Tiger. Today we're diving into something a little different. Usually all my fanfictions are surrounded by an original character that I made and thrown them into the world of some of my favourite fandoms. But I do like to sit here and ponder on the thought of crossovers. They're some of my favourite things to do. Crossing over to fandoms that maybe wouldn't have worked or no one's ever really thought of. And today is part 2 of something that I've thought of myself. A crossover between Ben 10 and Doctor Who. You can thank Mark, the Corner Stranger, for all the information I have on Doctor Who, as he's been a big help. If you haven't checked out part 1, I would advise you do so, because this is just a crossover between the two series. There isn't any original characters, but the storyline is original to the format. In the end of part 1, we did leave the trio and the Doctor fighting a Cyberman who's managed to get himself into the world of Ben 10 and enhance himself with some alien technology. He can now talk normally, and he also has some very dangerous enhancements. So, if you haven't checked out part 1, go do so. If you have, then let's dive in with Ben 10 Alien Force, ex-Doctor Who, Protectors of Time and Space, part 2. The Doctor stood there in front of the alien-enhanced Cyberman.
So, not only can you talk semi-normal, you are enhanced with alien technology from this universe. I must say, you really cannot just stick to our universe, can you?
The Doctor said. They changed my voice so I don't frighten the locals. We met one of this universe's individuals. They came to us and offered a trade, allow him to our universe with his resources and equipment, and he would not only show us a universe thriving with new life forms for our army, but a way to upgrade ourselves, the Cyberman explained.
So, what are you, the guinea pig? A lonely test subject? To see if this new accomplice was a fraud?
The Doctor asked.
Can we hurry this up?
Gwen grunted as she threw an energy disc at one of the knights that was surrounding them. The forever knights all started closing in. I think I found the right one, Ben called out as he slammed down on the Omnitrix. Within a flash of light, he transformed into Lodestar. Lodestar! He called out after he transformed into an alien. Lodestar then held out his pincer-like hands and emitted his magnetic waves, making several knights float off the ground. Kevin turned his concrete hand into a spiky concrete mace and slammed one of the knights off their feet. Then he kicked one in the stomach before hitting him in the head. You have met your match, Doctor, the Cyberman said as he held out his hand and a nozzle poked out from his palm. Suddenly, yellow lasers blasted from the nozzle, flying at the Doctor. The Doctor dove to one side, rolling away, dodging the lasers. Gwen formed a square of pink energy, blocking the attacks. Handle the knights. I handle Mr. Robot, Lodestar said.
Let me assist you.
The Doctor called out as he grabbed one of the laser lances that one of the knights had dropped and started to aim it. Thanks, Lodestar replied. He held out both his pincers and emitted his magnetism as it tried to pick up the Cyberman. The Cyberman started floating off the ground ever so slightly, but one of its shoulders opened up and revealed a small cannon which shot a sonic blast which knocked Lodestar and the Doctor off their feet.
He is full of surprises,
the Doctor muttered. I have a transformation who does the same thing. I do not envy the foes on the other end of Echo Echo, Lodestar grunted. Both of them climbed to their feet. Magnetism seems to work, but he has too many countermeasures, Lodestar said.
He seems to have quick reflexes,
the Doctor replied. Keep him occupied, Lodestar commanded.
I will do my best,
the Doctor called out. Then he ran around the Cyberman, blasting him with the laser lance. The Cyberman turned around and shot at him with several energy blasts, but then the Cyberman held out his arm and his hand shifted into his forearm and a red blaster took its place, and it shot a stream of fire. The Doctor rolled to one side and carried on shooting the Cyberman with the laser lance. Lodestar hit the Omnitrix logo on his chest, and in a flash of green, he turned back to Ben. Then Ben instantly activated his Omnitrix and turned the dial till he found an alien he was after. "I'm gonna need for speed," Ben called out and slapped down on the Omnitrix.
Stop making pop references cultures to seem cool,
Kevin called out. In a flash of green, Ben transformed into Accelerate. "Accelerate!" he called out. Then he sped around the Cyberman as quick as he could, becoming nothing but a black and blue blur surrounding the Cyberman. He held out his other hand in the process with the flamethrower repeated itself, and a blue tube took its place. It aimed it and blasted a stream of ice at the floor, freezing a patch of the ground, which made Accelerate trip and slide and crash into a wall. "Not my proudest moment," Accelerate grunted.
I must admit, I am at a loss.
The Doctor muttered.
Why can't we just hit the goddamn thing? Come on, let me get a few swings.
Kevin said as he smashed his mace fist into a knight's stomach, making him drop to the floor.
Stop thinking with your fist, Kevin. We gotta play smart here.
Gwen snapped. "Smart, of course," Accelerate sighed. Then he slapped his Omnitrix on his chest, and Ben immediately turned into grey matter. "Grey matter!" he called out. Then grey matter scurried over to the Doctor, who was still blasting the Cyberman. "You think I can turn him off?" Grey matter asked him.
I'm not sure on whether you can turn him off, but you might be able to stop his upgrade and motor functions.
The Doctor suggested. "That was my next idea," Grey matter replied.
Come here, I'll get you close. You two, cover us.
Kevin commanded as his mace fist turned back into his normal regular hand, and he scooped up grey matter into his palm. The Doctor shot at the Cyberman with his laser lance, and Gwen threw several energy blasts at the Cyberman. As Kevin ran up to him and threw a punch at the Cyberman, punching him directly in the face. Then two rods extended from the Cyberman's shoulders, extending upward, and a surge of electricity zapped Kevin. Gwen threw her hand out with a whip of energy lashing out, wrapping around the Cyberman, and she pulled with all her might, which made the Cyberman stumble forward, but the Cyberman blasted its flamethrower at her. She made a shield just in time, defending herself. The Doctor ran up to it and aimed his sonic screwdriver, but the Cyberman shot its thrust thrower at him. Gwen surrounded the Doctor in a bubble of energy and made him slide across to her.
Thank you.
The Doctor said. Kevin ran up to it and threw a fist, but the Cyberman electrocuted him again. Then the Cyberman aimed both its throwers and charged the electricity rods in its shoulders. But suddenly, its body went limp and it toppled over, hitting the floor with a loud thud. Then grey matter crawled out of the gap between its neck and shoulder. "Don't know how long it's gonna work for, but I did it," Grey matter confessed. Then, in a flash of green, he transformed back into Ben. "We better get going," Ben said.
Couldn't agree more,
Kevin replied. They all climbed out of the basement and out of the warehouse and found Kevin's car. They all climbed in and watched as a plumber's jet landed, and a few plumbers swarmed the warehouse and secured the alien technology-enhanced Cyberman. Kevin then started the car and drove back to Los Soledad. They all climbed out of the vehicle and walked up to the TARDIS.
Well, think of securing the Cyberman. I will return for him, but I must find this accomplice he speaks of.
The Doctor said to the trio. "Hey, don't worry about it. The plumbers can look after him or should do your thing. But saying that, we can come with you. If this guy's from our universe, or one like our universe, we might come in handy," Ben offered.
Besides, I don't believe you about the phone box,
Kevin stated.
It's a police box. It says it right here. And come on in, then.
The Doctor replied, then opened the door to the TARDIS and welcomed the trio in. Ben walked in first, followed by Gwen. Kevin gave the Doctor a strange look, then followed suit.
This is incredible,
Gwen said in awe as she looked up into the massive room.
Hey, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong,
Kevin said with a slight grin. "Do not tell Grandpa this, but this kinda kicks Rust Bucket's ass just a little bit," Ben muttered as all three of them looked around the big room.
If you were, in fact, offering to join, I guess I could use the backup. I usually have a companion, but I'm alone right now.
The Doctor stated. Ben looked at his cousin and his best friend, nodded at the pair of them. They nodded back. "We'd be glad to help, Doc," Ben replied.
Well then, splendid. Now, we just need to get this beauty going.
the Doctor sighed. He then started flicking the switches and pressing the buttons on the console.
Do you know where you're going?
Gwen asked.
To be honest, I rarely ever do. The TARDIS takes me when I need to be, when she ain't been stubborn.
The Doctor responded. Hey, maybe I can help, Ben said, then activated the Omnitrix. He scrolled through his alien transformations till he found Upgrade, then he slammed down on the watch. Upgrade! He called out. The galvanic mechamorph melted down and encased the entire TARDIS. Whoa, this feels weird, Upgrade muttered.
Ben, we don't know what this could do to you.
Gwen said worryingly. Time travelling, multiverse travelling place box? Yeah, that's all the info I need. Upgrade chuckled.
Yeah, this is pretty reckless.
Kevin said. You're just jealous, Upgrade mocked.
Maybe.
Kevin said with a frown.
Can Ben do this? Control the TARDIS, I mean.
Gwen asked the Doctor.
I mean, I have never encountered this before. I cannot see a reason why we shouldn't at least try.
The Doctor replied. Okay, Doc, what do I do? Upgrade asked.
Think of the accomplice and the enhanced Cyberman. See where that takes us.
The Doctor commanded. Okay, Upgrade said. Then he did what the Doctor said, and suddenly the TARDIS began to activate. The noise filled the room, and the TARDIS blinked in and out of reality till it was completely gone, and it left Lost Soledad.
You're doing great, Ben!
Gwen yelled out reassuringly.
I don't know whether to be proud or throw up.
Kevin said as he sat down, holding tight to the edge of the console. Then the TARDIS came to a stop. Upgrade slithered off the TARDIS and became his humanoid form, then in a flash of light transformed back into Ben. Ben laid on the floor, feeling quite queasy, the Omnitrix flashing red. Gwen bolted to her knees and checked on her cousin.
It took a lot out of him.
Gwen said.
In the Omnitrix?
Kevin muttered, holding up the Omnitrix, which was now flashing red. The Doctor opened the TARDIS and poked his head out the door. He looked left and right, then closed the TARDIS door and walked up to the trio.
I do not know where we are, but we sure are somewhere. Well done.
The Doctor said as Ben sat up. Thanks, I think, Ben muttered as he held his head in his hands. The trio helped Ben up to his feet, and they all walked out of the TARDIS. They checked the massive silver room that they were in. On one side of the room was a huge window. Looking out, they could see the galaxy. It was clear they were on some form of spaceship. Well, Toto, we're no longer in Kansas, Ben muttered, and then Kevin smacked him across the head. And there we have it, guys. We have our part 2 to our crossover. Now, of course, this isn't my usual cup of tea, per se, but I thought I'd give it a good whirl. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, then let me know. Let's talk about our voice actors. But Woods, who you would know as my voice actor for Ghost Rider, voiced Kevin. Then, of course, we have Jordan playing Gwen Tennyson, and you'd know Jordan from our Red Lantern storyline. Then we have Mark the Red Cornish Ranger, who actually voices quite a lot of my characters: Sabretooth, Alfred, Dr. Dead, and now, of course, the Doctor. He is also a big help because I'm not actually that well known in the lore of Doctor Who, and he actually comes in handy. I'm not entirely sure when part 3 will be released, but I do just want to say thank you all for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more crossovers soon. It is something that I really, really want to play with. That being said, thank you all for listening, and I shall see you guys really soon.